Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. This is Cassie with Creative Paper Studio, and today I am starting a series of videos that's probably going to take a few videos to do, but I am going to recreate this journal that I've made, but I'm going to make it in a different theme. We're going bee theme instead of nature this time. So I saw somebody, something Samuels, I think is her name. I don't remember her first name, but she did a flip through of a journal that she had made, and I absolutely loved it and I wanted to recreate it. Now, she had only done a flip through of it and not a tutorial, so I had to rewatch and rewatch her video several times to figure out how she made her journal. So I figured there's no other tutorials out there like this that I have seen, so I wanted to go ahead and recreate this journal the way I have made it. So it's a different type of journal, as you have little mountains or little flaps that we're going to put eyelets in and then attach our pieces with jump rings. So anyway, this front page here opens up, and then it opens up again, and then it opens this direction as well, and it's a total of 5 pages. It's hard to get it all into screen, but it's a total of 5 pages in that, and we will be making all these parts and pieces as we go along. We'll be making a journal insert to go in the center here. This one happens to be a 2-signature journal. We have some specimen cards and an envelope we'll be creating, and then pockets on the back page. And this is constructed a bit differently, so why don't we just hop right into it. I'm going to set that aside for now. So some tools that you're going to need: a pair of scissors, a bone folder, a pen for marking, a scoring tool, your paper trimmer, and your scoreboard is what we're going to need to start with. So when you're thinking about creating your journal, you want to first think about the cover and how you want your cover to be. Now, this is going to be a bigger, more substantial journal, so I want my cover to be really sturdy. So I have this book board that I use. It's by the company Cinch. We Are Memory Keepers makes it. You can get 2 8.5 by 11 pieces for $4, and I buy this at Hobby Lobby. So I like to keep this on hand because it just gives a completely different feel to your journals, and it just makes them feel more sturdy and substantial and more professional made. So I like to use that. So for your covers, you want to have it 8.5 tall, which my book board already comes that way, and 6 inches wide. So 8.5 this way, and then 6 inches this way. If you don't have book board or chipboard, you can use cereal box and do like 2 or 3 layers of the cereal box and just kind of glue them together, and that'll work just fine too for your covers. So then you're going to need 3 manila file folders. Now, mine are the legal size. They don't have to be the legal size. That's just what I have on hand. So that's what I'm going to use. So let me get some stuff moved around here. Okay. So the first part we're going to make is our spine of our journal. So we want our book to be 8.5 tall. So I'm going to take my file folder and I'm going to cut it at 8.5 tall. So right there's 8.5. Okay. Put your extra piece aside. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to trim down right here to just make this a straight edge here on this side. Okay. And then I want to cut this at 7.5 wide. So we're going to go to 7.5. And trim that. Okay. So this is all leftover. This piece I'm going to toss. These pieces you can set aside and use for tags and tucks and stuff like that later. Okay. So now I need the scoreboard. And I have a little template here that I made myself. So you're going to put this on there. So you have the 8.5 going up and down and your 7.5 going across. And you're going to score it at 1/2 inch. Then you're going to score it at 1.5. Then you're going to score it at 2 and 2.5. Okay. Then you're going to rotate it around so that your score marks are now on your right hand side, and you're going to do the same thing. So you're going to score at 1/2. Then you're going to score at 1.5. Oops. Then you're going to score at 2. And then you're going to score at 2.5. So, again, I'll just write this on here again. So, this score mark is at 0.5. This score mark is at 1.5. This one's at 2 inches. And this one's at 2.5 inches. The same thing over here. You've got 0.5. You've got 1.5. You've got 2. And then you've got 2.5. So if you've done your math correctly, in the center here, you should have 2 inches. And that's going to be the spine that we're going to actually put our journal into. Where you have the 3 score lines on either side here, those are going to become our mountains. And that's what we're going to attach our inserts into. So, I'm going to move the stuff aside, get the next step ready, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we are back. And now we're going to focus on building our first insert, okay? So at this point, you should have your cover made, or not made, but your cover cut and your spine made. So now you're going to need your other 2 file folders. And for this one, for the first one anyway, you're going to want to pay attention to where the tab is at in case you want that made into your design or whatever. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter. But we're going to cut this at 8.5 again. And I want to include this tab as part of my design. So I'm going to make sure it's on this side. That's going to be 8.5. We're going to trim that down. Now for your second one, it doesn't really matter because we're going to trim it anyway. So 8.5. Again, your offcuts, keep those because we can use those for tags and stuff. Okay, and that's all you're going to need your paper trimmer for at this point. So, set my paper trimmer aside. Now, I can choose to have this smaller tab, or I can choose to have this bigger tab. I'm going to go ahead and take the bigger tab, just because I can. Okay. And we're going to bring our scoreboard in. Okay. And I'm going to start with my bigger tab. So, open up your file folder. We're going to ignore the factory crease, okay? So, you're going to put this in here like so. And then you're going to go over to 5 1/4 and you're going to score. And then you're going to go to 10 1/2 and you're going to score. Okay. So you've got 5 1/4 and then you've got 10 1/2. So now you're going to fold your 10 1/2 score mark, ignoring those factory creases. And the reason we're folding that is because we need to put that up against the edge. Because we now need to come in and score, not at 5, 5 1/4. Okay. So, with your first score mark that we've made, your second score mark, and your third score mark, we have 1, 2, 3 of our 5 pages. Now, if you want to come in here and cut this off, you can. It's not necessary. Let's just cut it off because we can. Now, you don't want to cut it completely off because we need this piece. So, I'm just cutting it off to where it's a straight cut. Okay? So, now we need to grab our second file folder that we've cut, and we need to do the same thing with it. We need to put it in here and cut that so that it's a nice straight cut, okay? So, get that out of your way again. And now, we're going to take some glue, and I am just going to use my Barely Art glue, art glitter glue, whatever you want. And I'm going to, wow, why is that taller than that? Let me double check my measurements here. So this is supposed to be 8.5. 8.5. It looks like it is. Did I cut this one off? So there's 8. I did cut it wrong. So this one I messed up on, and I cut it at 8 inches, and, well, I cut it at 8 1/4 instead of 8.5. So, let me grab another file folder, and we'll redo that. Okay, so we're backing up again. Okay, 8.5. And I bet y'all saw me do that too and were screaming at me. But that's okay. We make mistakes. It happens. Mistakes are easily fixed. Okay. So again, I'm going to use my big flap. So you'll get to see me do this part again, which is totally fine. 5 1/4. 10 1/2. Okay. Fold up your 10 1/2 crease and stick that right up there in the edge. And then we're going to go to 5 1/4. Okay. We're going to cut this off straight. Okay, now we should be in business. Alrighty. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to put glue all over this little flap here. Hopefully you can see where the crease is at there, where we scored it. Now on this part here, I'm going to put glue all over it, but I'm not going to go all the way up against my crease where we scored, because I don't want the paper to interfere with that fold. So we're going to get close to it, but not all the way up to it. Okay. Make sure you get plenty of glue on there, because we want these to adhere together quite well. Okay, line your papers up, make sure you're not interfering with that fold line. Okay, so see, I've gone almost up to it, but not quite. So now I can fold that to make sure it's going to crease properly. And that is what we have now. Okay. So once you get that done, you're going to put that crease up against the edge of your scoreboard, making sure it's nice and taut. And then you're going to go to 5 1/4 and score. And then you're going to go to 10 1/2 and score. Okay. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. So at this point, we're done with our scoreboard. Bring your paper trimmer back in. And then we're going to cut on that last score mark that we made. And this is what's left over. Set that aside to use for tags and stuff. Set your paper trimmer out of the way. And now we have to fold this. So I am going to flip mine over so it's actually backwards with my tab on this side. That way I can fold this direction. And then fold it this direction. So you're just going to go back and forth like an accordion fold. Creasing your pages as you go. Okay, then I have mine folded backwards, which is no big deal. So we're just going to reverse our folds. Okay. So this is what we are left with at this point. So I have my tab at the top on my right hand side. And then as you open your pages, you have your final page ending on the left hand side. And that's what you want, because once we cover this with paper and we decorate it, we're going to add an extra piece of like craft colored cardstock or something here. That way we can put our eyelets in it, and then it's not going to interfere with the actual folding of the insert. I can see that my trim job there wasn't quite straight. So let me trim this down. Okay. So this is what we have now. We have our insert, we have our spine, and we have our book pages. Now, to fold the spine, on the first 1/2 inch, you want to fold that up. Okay. Then on your second score, the 1.5, fold it down. Fold the 2 inch. Then you want to fold your 2.5 inch. Okay, now you're going to flip it over, do the same thing on the other side, fold all your score marks. It doesn't matter which way you're folding them at this point, because you can unfold them and fold them the other direction. Okay, that one's a little crooked. Let me fix it. Okay. So now when I unfold this, I want to take my center fold of those 3 that are really close together, and I want to make sure it folds to make a mountain. So you're going to make sure it does this number. Then you're going to do the same thing with the other side, making sure it makes a mountain. This is a very important step to make sure your score lines are straight and stuff, because you want it to lay like this. So these pieces here are going to attach to your front and your back cover. These are where we're going to put eyelets in at. And then the middle here is going to be for our signature. Now you can do 1 signature, 2 signatures, it doesn't matter. But yeah, so all you're going to do with this now is you're going to flatten it back out now that you have all those score lines creased and stuff. And then you're going to cover this with fabric on just the front side. The back side, you're going to leave plain, because after we cover it with fabric, we have to do something else to it to get it ready to go into the book, actually. So we're building this book backwards. Most times you start with your spine and your covers and stuff and then go from there. But we're actually starting by building our spine, and then our covers will be one of the last things that we do. So anyway, I'm going to end this video here. I will pick up the next video at covering this with the fabric, and then we'll kind of go from there and see how it progresses. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're going to play along with me, I would love to see your pictures over in JJ with Joy on Facebook. Go over there and share your pictures. We are doing giveaways for participation and things like that, so be sure to get involved in those. And I will see you all in the next video. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep it crafty. Toodles!